Hello, friends, and welcome to Season 11 of the Future Ready Librarians podcast series, Leading from the Library. This is a podcast for all librarians wherever you are in your journey. It is filled with amazing guests, important topics, and engaging conversations that will inspire, engage, and support all of us as future ready librarians. I am your host, Shannon McClintock Miller. I am the district teacher librarian at Van Meter Community School in Van Meter, Iowa, and serve as the Future Ready Librarians Leader. I have the pleasure of working within my library and school community and also with others around the country and world through Future Ready Librarian events, conferences, consulting, writing, and more. I am honored to bring these voices and the work of others to our podcast and to all of you. Well, today, friends, I'm going to welcome someone new to our podcast, but somebody that I have gotten to know over the last few months and just makes me so happy every time I talk to her. And so I couldn't wait to have Brandi on and to talk about something that I think about every day, and that's library joy. And so I'm really excited for everybody to get to hear from you today, Brandi, and just for us to have a conversation about library joy. But let's just start by having you introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brandi Grant. I am a librarian in Texas, a middle school librarian in Texas. This is my 20th year in education and my 15th year in middle school libraries, because that is where my joy is, middle school libraries.
And that is just so special because I think middle schoolers just need the joy that we bring them and the support and everything that we can do to make them feel welcome in their library. I mean, all kids do, but middle school, such a special, special age.
Yes, they're independent, so they think, but they still need that dependence and that little snuggle. And I feel like that is what middle school provides. People either say that we're either saints or we're crazy. I think both.
I love it. A little bit of both. I think that's great. Well, I'm excited today just to sit and talk about library joy for a little bit because starting back to school and going to school myself in our library, I just, every day when I walk in, I think out of all the things that we can do, I think just encompassing that and feeling that for ourselves and for our kids just really shines through. And so, first, just let's start talking about just defining library joy and what that means to you.
Um, I just I smile every time. Library joy is a feeling. It's a feeling of belonging, a feeling of curiosity, of discovery. For students, I hope that it's a space where students feel empowered and they want to learn and explore and take risks.
And I think that is something to say. When I first started in the library, I really didn't know anything about the library, and I took the job at Van Meter. And after a few weeks, I was like, the library can be so much more. It can be a place, just like you said, where kids can come and they don't have to be quiet and they don't have to always be studying or reading. They can be creating and collaborating and just talking and being together. And so I love that you said that because I feel like that's the whole reason why we're librarians, right?
Definitely. It's one of those things where literacy is so important and it is foundational. It's integral to our job. But then there's just that's our foundation. There's just so much more that our library and librarians and library programs can provide. And that's where you have that future ready factor of the exploration, of the risk taking. And, when a student feels safe, they feel more empowered to be able to do those things. And that's what libraries can provide. And that's the joy that I love.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And we're teachers, right? And so when we think about like libraries being, as you just said, not only, joyful, but also future ready, I think that is a huge thing to really think about those skills that we can bring through library joy that are future ready to our students. So let's just talk about that for a second because we've talked about collaboration and we've talked about creativity, but kind of digging into, what that looks like in some of the activities that we can bring to our libraries too.
And I want to emphasize that the joy that I'm talking about is deeper than just fun.
Yeah.
Our libraries are all fun, but like I said, there has to be something deeper than that. And those joyful library experiences that I hope that we all can provide, they can help students with creativity and innovation. They can help them with critical thinking and collaboration and communication. And then the most important one, which we all need, is adaptability and resilience. Having that, like I said, that safe space to take those risks is very important.
I think too today about, and I've heard you talk about your library before too. So very similar things that we have going on. And I think about my kids today and I set up like a this or that kind of thing this year in our library. And so our third graders came in and I heard them like talking. I actually like took a picture just to remember. And it was so cute because they were just so excited, but they stood there and talked like for 5 minutes about, well, do you like cats or dogs better? Like, where are we going to put, like, what are you thinking? And those little types of things I think are just so fun because it's something new that we can bring to our kids. And it's something that, brings them together too with their friends or maybe with somebody that they've never talked to before. And then even going and, doing something, you're in a library. If you start talking about something, you can go research or you can discover something. And so I love those moments. It's such a neat thing to see how those little sparks also light up in our library too.
And it's so fun to see students communicating and collaborating and seeing themselves and other in their peers, because around elementary and middle school they don't. Communication right now is not something that they do because everything is so digital and maybe social media based. So to have those experiences where they can come in and communicate and talk and debate, and it happens in the library. Those are moments that students are going to look at and think about well beyond when they are at your campus, and they're going to be like that. My librarian set up that experience for me, and I remember that, and I loved that. I love that about creating that memory is always important.
It is important. And just thinking about the future, and when we think about career readiness,
Mhm.
and we think about all these things, like today, I was listening to our STEM teacher because I share the library with our STEM program. And she was talking about careers, even with our itty bitties, and thinking about everything that you could be. And I think about that a lot. Like, that's what we're giving them too, is just opening like the doors to so many different opportunities that might evolve into something that they're passionate about in the future too.
Yes, those essential skills for careers, or, even thinking about challenges that don't yet exist. I mean, these are just things that they're learning in the library that may seem small, but they make a huge impact out in our world. And, that's future ready.
It is. It so is. I know. And now that I'm thinking about things like that we're doing in our library that are new this year, I have to ask you, like, is there something new that you're doing to in your library this year to bring your kids and you joy?
I think the main thing that I'm looking forward to, I know we have all, you have to cash in on the cultural phenomenons that are happening right now. And
Yeah.
so Labubus and K-pop Demon Hunters have taken over the world and have taken over the library. But what I've learned is those are what's going to bring kids into the library. And so we just got through doing a build your own Labubu craft. And I did not think that it was going to be as popular. But what I did notice is when they took out their Chromebooks, they were researching. We talked about the history of Labubus, and they really wanted to get the art behind the Labubu and the meaning behind them. And they were using those research skills and applying it to their craft because they wanted to make their Labubu the correct way. And that shocked me. And of course, I'm a librarian, so I laminated all of them. And they are hanging them off of their backpacks. I said, you've gone further than Lafufus. I don't know what Labubu you have, but it was just so, it was so interesting because it was kids of all walks of life, girls, boys, 6th, 7th, 8th graders who were just having a great time. And so that's one thing this couple of weeks at the start of school that I've really enjoyed.
Oh, that's cool. I know all I've been seeing like on social and just brainstorming, and now it's Taylor and all that too. And so, go to school and you think about exactly what you said. You think about not the things that we necessarily love, even though we do things too that we love and bring them, but what our kids, I mean, middle school kids, that's what's going to get them. I got to see these crafts too. You got to send me pictures
Okay.
because I want to see what
And
they.
then what I did to go further, because now that I have them in the library, I want to keep them there. And so I just put up some slides. If this is your Labubu personality, here are some books to match your Labubu personality, because I always want them to realize it's about literacy. Literacy is our foundation.
That's great. I know you have to share that because I want to see it all. I love that. I mean, because you can't really go and buy one. They're kind of expensive. So we have to make our own. I
And that's
love
what I was telling everyone, you don't have to have that particular thing. Let's use our creativity. Let's innovate. Let's think about what we can do to make our own. And we've had some interesting ones.
oh, I love it. That is so great. I know, and we think about too, I think especially as we go back to school and we think about not only ourselves, but our teachers too, and the others that we, work with in our buildings. And that's just us as librarians and keeping that joy that we have too. And I know that you think a lot about that too. So maybe share some things on how we can keep that library joy.
Well, okay. So I always say that the library is the heart of the school. And, that's what we're about. We're the joy bringers. But sometimes I know, especially in light of everything that's going on, burnout can threaten our joy. And so I have just a couple of things I want to say about that. Brene Brown says something about embracing the suck
Yeah.
and, acknowledging it. But I always say embrace the suck, but don't live in the suck. Don't dwell on the suck. Yes, we all have some things that we're going through on our campuses, in our districts. But I really challenge everyone to focus on what you can control. Acknowledge those challenges, but don't let them dominate who you are and your library program. Personal story. But there was a time where I was overworked and burned out, and I got real negative, real negative. And during that time, I was only focused on the darkness. That's all I talked about. That's what I lived in. But I totally forgot about all of these amazing achievements and moments that my kids were having in the library, experiences they were having, because I was just focused on the suck. And so I just challenge all of you all, how to keep yourself is, of course, we don't want to do toxic positivity where everything's fine, I'm fine. That's not the case. We need to name it. We need to understand it, but then we need to figure out, how we can work through it, or how we can navigate it, or how we can still coexist in the suck and
Yeah.
still maintain that joy.
That's such great advice. And I know that you, in your district, you work with a lot of amazing librarians. And so you're lucky to have like that PLC around you too. And I'm sure that that helps too.
Yes, I have two PLCs. So I have the PLC that we all know, the professional learning community of, those supportive, positive relationships. And, they're the ones that keep me accountable and help me navigate through school. But then I have another layer. And it is my PLC of positive life crew. You got to have a positive life crew. You got to have a group of colleagues or friends or mentors who their goal is to help you focus on those positive moments, to keep your morale high, to celebrate those wins, to help you maintain perspective, which, hello, I need during those challenging times. So, yes, get a positive professional learning community, but then you also need that positive life crew. You got to have two levels of PLC.
I love that. Positive life crew. That's a good one. So
Yeah.
my sister Heather is a librarian too. And I talk to my sister all the time because, like, that's my person, And I always think in my head, gosh, if I didn't have Heather, like, to talk, and it's not even talking about the bad things, but it's like talking about, like, the good things or something funny that happened or something we did or, things that are hard sometimes. And I love that because that's so important. And I think that that's what I'm so grateful to about like Future Ready Librarians and the group that we have, even on our Facebook, or if it's having a webinar or an event or our new digital navigators, like anything like that, just to kind of bring us together. I'm the only librarian in my district, and so I count on all of you for a lot of those things because yeah, you're my people. So that's a really big thing. I know. So I think too that when we, think about like again this time of year, and I love talking with librarians like you because always looking for these little tips and tricks on how to infuse joy and future readiness. So I want to hear what you think about what we could all do in our libraries.
Well, I think what needs to happen is it has to be intentional. Um, every day, you have to start thinking to yourself and telling yourself, okay, I'm going to choose joy, number one. And what joy am I going to try to create for my kids? And so that's how I try every day to start off. And especially when I'm thinking about a program or an activity. And remember, joy is there's going to be elements of fun, but it goes deeper than that. So even just me being in the hallway and saying hello and giving hugs and especially those students who don't always get a hug and a hello from home or from um, other classmates, just letting them know I see you. That's important. Of course, flexible seating, cozy corners, any kind of displays that are going to catch their eye, that's going to create some joy. And then also, you need to build engagement with skills. And
Mm.
so I just feel like a lot of times when we are introducing a skill or a lesson, we need to be just as passionate about it as we want the kids to be. There was a lesson I did on Greek mythology. And yes, I could have just given them the presentation and went through all the mythological characters. But because I am extra, I dressed up. I had on my little toga robe. I did have clothes under. full garb. I had the music playing. I was talking in that language. And it's just about you want to draw them in. And so they're more willing to be engaged when you do that. And so that was a joyful time. Giving students choice and voice is always amazing. Now, did I want to really go that far with a Labubu craft? No, I didn't. But I had a group of girls who were like, you're doing it. Please do it. We need you to do it. So like my next thing is they want to do some type of K-pop demon hunter thing. And I just saw the movie. I'm not equipped to do it. And so what I told the girls is, okay, you all help me plan this Labubu craft. So now I want you to do the next craft. You are going to be talking about K-pop demon hunters to all the kids. And they're like, us? And I was like, yeah, you can do it. So it's things like that infuse that joy, but then also gives those future ready skills because they are empowered to now share and collaborate and to present.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I see kids in the hallway and, school's just starting back up. And to hear them say, like, do you remember when we did that? Or I want you to come so we can do that again. Or I can't wait to come to the library. Like, just what your kids think, like, that's what you're bringing to your library, making it the heart of the school, but also just bringing so much joy to not only your students, but, think about what that means to your teachers and your family and your community too. So I love that. You're an
And
inspiration, my
and
friend.
that's what's gonna like, I mean, the burnout is real. It's
It is.
so hard. I mean, just in education, period. And so that's why that right now it's so important for us to lean in to joyful moments. And,
It,
just to really think about how relationships, connections,
mhm.
engagement, all of these things can be melded together with future readiness. And all you're going to get is a great product.
Yeah, I love that. And you're making an impact, not only on what is happening in the library, but shifting the way that they feel about what they do in their classrooms, taking that home and feeling good about themselves. And I mean, that's such a great thing.
It's
And
a ripple effect.
it
Yeah.
is. We're so lucky for our jobs and to be librarians and make an impact. And this conversation makes me happy too. So I love that. I just love everything that you do, and you're just a great role model for all of us too. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, I've learned a lot of lessons, and this joy didn't just come immediate. I had to go through some low lows and some high highs to get to where I am. And this is what I choose to do, and this is my mission that I want to, my impact to be on our profession. So, thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that and to share.
Oh, I always love talking to you, Brandi. Thank you so much. And tell people before we go where they can find you online.
I am on Instagram and I am Mrs. G Liddy, Littylib. So I hope that you follow and engage, and I would love to talk to you, get any ideas you have, or I would love to get any of your ideas to give some joy. I have a challenge for everyone, just one thing. I just really want all of your podcast people to just think about adding one joyful skill building experience. And just try, see what you think, see how it makes you feel, see how it makes your kids feel. And I guarantee it's going to make you smile.
Oh, thank you, friend. You're awesome. As always, thank you to all of our listeners for joining us for this episode of the Future Ready Librarian podcast series, Leading from the Library. And a very special thank you to our sponsors, Follett Content. You make a difference in our libraries, schools, and within our lives. and that of our students every day. We appreciate everything you do. I hope you can take what you learned in today's podcast and put it to use within your practice as a future-ready librarian. If I can support you in any way, please feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or X or Instagram at Shannon M. Miller or at my email at shannonmcclintockmiller@gmail.com. I am always happy to help and support each and every one of you. Until next time, friends, keep finding ways to lead within and from your library.